This is Trust the Dyck podcast with yours truly, Coach Alan Dyck. I'm here with Jeff and Anton. We're going to be talking about how we unlock wealth through real estate and fitness. Now, individually, I'm just going to get them to give a little bit of an intro on themselves. We'll start with Anton.
Thanks, my man. I've been doing real estate since 2003. We own brokerages. We do land development, title, escrow, insurance, and hardcore investors. So we basically play all of those games in real estate. Been blessed to be able to do that at an unbelievably high level. In the great financial crisis, brother, I was very out of shape, and I'm working 110 hours a week. And one of the guys that worked for me, he's like 22. He goes, "Hey, let's change our lives and start working out all the time." And I kind of worked out before that, but that was kind of my first step. Was all of a sudden you're working a bajillion hours a week, and I was like, "Oh, okay, here we go." And I started working out like 6 days a week, and then of course met my amazing friend, business partner Jeff, and that's what ended up getting us here.
I absolutely love it. Meeting you and having all this stuff that we do now together, which everybody's going to find out that we're, as this podcast goes on, but, to see how much you've changed over such a short period of time, and honestly, how much sexier you've gotten. And obviously it's definitely helps. Hey, I get to see his pictures every single day. So, all right. How about you, Jeff? Let's talk about yourself.
All right. Very good. My name is Jeff Latham. First of all, I'm a father of three, husband to an amazing woman, and, I live out in the middle of nowhere, and I run a real estate brokerage. I own a real estate brokerage. I've been in real estate as long as Anton, since about 2002, and sold over a couple thousand homes. Now we sell real estate, we buy houses, we develop properties, we build homes. We got some pretty big projects coming up that we're doing, and really just venturing into that next level of wealth creation. And we're having a lot of fun, and we're helping a lot of people do the same thing. And just like Anton, we went through the good, the bad, the ugly, the good again, and then the tough again. And I can tell you, the one thing that's helped me keep my sanity and outperform most people is the consistent focus on exercise and working out. If I don't work out, I would probably rip all the doors off of my house and just go nuts. And so it keeps me sane, gives me energy, and helps me produce. And then Anton and I connected with you, and you got us absolutely peeled in, in 2 months. And here we are 7 months in, and it's been even better. It's a consistent upgrade. So we're having a lot of fun, and we're helping a lot of people accelerate their wealth.
Just like Anton, Mr. Jeff, for all you listeners out there, likes to send me a picture in a black cowboy hat every single day, and his abs look absolutely amazing. I think it's because of the cowboy hat. So, Jeff, question for you. What inspired you to pursue real estate, and how did you become a leader in this field?
Well, that's a great question. Coming out of high school, I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I went to a community college, and I went there because that's just what people do. We're taught to do is go to college, go get more schooling. And I was in this class called Study Skills. And the teacher said something. She says, "I don't teach to make money. I teach because I love it. But if I wanted to make money or be wealthy, I would sell real estate." And that was kind of a light bulb moment for me. And my mother was a real estate agent. And so I went home that day and I told her I'm dropping out of college to become a real estate agent. And, she supported me, but was, concerned because she knows how brutal the industry can be. And so I dropped out of college and got my real estate license. And my mom actually ended up working for me in the future. And it was just really it. I just wanted the freedom to be able to do what I want, wake up whenever I want, and not have someone tell me what to do, because punching a time clock seems like jail to me. One of my highest values is freedom. Like it is probably my highest value. I don't like being told what to do, and I like to play. I like to fly airplanes, shoot guns, ride motorcycles,
As I sit in a
and
spinner
play with my
van on the
kids
top of the
and
hill
make
in the
money
middle
while
of
I'm doing
nowhere.
it.
That's
It's
gorgeous.
special out there.
That's actually more snow than we have here
Looks like
right
Canada.
now. Honestly, you know, that's
Oh yeah, it's crazy.
it's so enlightening, and so, you know, that will reflect or hit so many different people, because that's the reason why I became, you know, a business owner as well, because I didn't want to go ahead and show up at a specific time. I want to be able to put in the time that I wanted to, and to know that if I went ahead and worked extra hours, I came in early, came in late, stayed, whatever, this and that it would benefit me and not just one individual. So, you know, I love that. Mr. Anton, what were the key milestones in your real estate career that led to the creation of this mastermind group?
Oh, interesting. I started building real estate businesses like I'd been in the business a year, and I started recruiting people, building businesses, buying businesses. And so one thing I immediately learned is, like, your business will only grow to the extent that you grow. And so you become this rev limiter, this lid. John Maxwell talks about it with the idea of the law of the lid. In other words, however far the leader grows, everyone else will only grow to that level. And so what I had to do, because I was in my 20s, is I was forced at an epic level, Alan, to start growing as a leader. And when you start growing as a leader, what you immediately notice is now I have to now start also developing my people, which was coaching, consulting, training them on a regular basis. And collectively between Jeff and I, no joke, we've probably spent $1 million on additional coaching, training, education. In this group right now, I have 3 other coaching programs I'm in right now. So I'm in 4. And it gets a little crazy. So 4 is probably a little too much, but who is holding you accountable and then pushing you to the ultimate level in not just real estate, not just wealth, not just health, but your spiritual life, your relationships, and like trying to, you know, essentially level up in all areas. I ran a coaching and consulting business in addition to my real estate business during the great financial crisis. So probably 2010 to 2016, closed that down because the squirrels got a little boring. Also, weed started getting really big in Washington State. So I decided I'd go dump a bunch of money into weed. P.S. Stay in your lane. So that was a costly experiment. And then with this group specifically, what happened was just a natural evolution. Jeff and I are builders. We build businesses. We build people because we look successful because there's amazing people in our world that make us look cooler than we are. But you have to grow them too. Otherwise, you can't grow. So this group is really just an extension of that. It's me and Jeff playing, you playing. This is just fun for us. We're giving back. We're sharing lessons. And we're saying, hey, by the way, if you can get your health under control and you can get your fitness under control, and you start getting everything dialed and kind of moving in a specific direction, what will then happen to all these other areas of your life? And I think that's the big key. Like this is a cornerstone, a keystone habit that you becomes a massive building block for then you to start working on your relationships, for you to start working on wealth building, for you to start working on whatever else you want to put forward.
Dude, that is awesome. Yeah, words of wisdom from the man. Like that. Nicely done, buddy. You know? All right, gentlemen. I've got an individual question for you. So, what's one surprising thing that people don't know about you, Jeff? Dude.
I've crashed my airplane twice. And the first time I crashed it, I was flying over to my dentist appointment and I had a prop strike and I dribbled it down the runway. And I don't know if I should put this out there, but we'll do it anyways. I took a hacksaw and I cut the propeller blades even because I had 3 blades, and I flew it back over the mountains. And then the second time I crashed it, another plane, I was landing, and everybody was landing in this pattern. And so I was following them, and I have a tail dragger, and I didn't realize they were landing in a tailwind. And so I landed, and the plane wouldn't stop. So I hit the brakes, and it spun out. It's like hitting an e-brake in a car, and it spun out, and my wings scraped across the runway, and it pitched me out into the dirt. And so then what I did is the next day I took a hammer and beat the ailerons free, and then took Gorilla Tape and taped it up. I flew it back over the mountains and fixed it.
I fucking hate flying, so the fact that you did any of that, I would have just cried. Like, good job. All right, same question to you, Mr. Anton.
On the exterior, I would say I'm a very chill, very optimistic person, and then understand that as a young teenager, I dealt with anger management issues. I'd ride my dirt bike, quad, wreck it, get pissed off at that, beat it with the helmet, scream at the dirt bike. It was never my fault. It was the dirt bike's fault. 100%. Like, it couldn't go fast enough. But, and then I've always been a little bit squirrely, maybe a little ADD. What I realized, though, Alan, is like, both of those things were like a gift from God as a child. And the reason I say that is I decided when I was like 12, 13, I don't really know when, like I was no longer going to be a pissed off individual. And so I started focusing on like, what is this pattern that pops up? Why do I get so angry? And I may or may not have gotten into a lot of fights in junior high, high school, while partying up and down the West Coast. That's a different story. But that was a gift because I was forced to start figuring out how to control those emotions. And not until like the book Power of Habit and Atomic Habits did I have a language around it. Essentially, I started doing habit stacking as a young kid. And I was using that just to control the squirrels and to control my emotions. And that's made me wildly successful because I was able to build, just like I mentioned earlier, these building blocks that then you can sit there and constantly build off of. And then if someone's saying like, oh, I'm too ADD to read, or because I didn't pick up a book until I was like 13. They put me into special classes to teach me how to read because I just ignored reading. I would just go outside and just wander around in the bushes for hours and like cut down trees and stuff. And so when someone says, oh, I can't read, or, oh, I can't do this, my brain immediately goes to, yes, you can, but are you willing to put in the hard work? Are you willing to start to build some of these habits? Are you willing to be tenacious long enough to maybe overpower self and get into a better pattern and routine?
Wow. Love it, buddy. Honestly. This question's for the both of you at the same time. You know what? Tell me about your mastermind and this group, and who is it designed for, and what's it all about when it comes to what you guys offer, the fitness aspect of it. Like, who can join this group?
I think the group's for everyone. Primarily people that want to be free of the machine, to no longer be slaves to the dollar. Because if you can invest properly and get your fitness dialed in, they go hand in hand. And it just leads to ultimate freedom. Who we want the committed. We want the people that are going to, do what they say they're going to do, and they're going to stick it out and actually make a change. And we're getting them. And those people are a lot of fun to work with. So we're just looking for more crazy people that want to join us.
Yeah. If I was to say like our ideal avatar is 30s to 50s, young entrepreneur or already an entrepreneur, someone who is a little outside the bell curve or they want to be outside the bell curve. In other words, you don't want to be average. and you want to be committed at a new level, and you want to take this commitment into multiple areas of your life. So at the end of the year, Alan, what we went over goal setting for 2025. And we went over on our last call last week about, okay, I know all of you set goals and then the holidays happen. So in other words, like you were there and then bam, nothing worked. Okay. You got derailed. And so we talked about basically the whole point of last week's call was getting back on track, reigniting your goals, gaining momentum, creating a system of small wins. So that those small wins start building up that confidence and competence for you to do even more. And so, yes, we're looking for the committed. And I would say the majority of the people in the group are some type of entrepreneur, or they've got that entrepreneurial mindset and they're looking for freedom. You know, fitness, finances, freedom, family, fun, another F word. Let's go.
I tend to throw quite a few of those out each and every day. Okay. So, what makes this unique compared to other real estate communities? Like what you guys offer, like, what's the difference between you and other, communities that go ahead and talk about real estate?
Yeah. How many other real estate communities focus on more than one aspect? So put the man together and his whole world comes together. The problem is when you're receiving some type of coaching and it's only on one area of your life, you're probably in trouble. Because I have many friends who make 7-8 digits a year, who are just like me. And yet I could outwalk them. I mean, literally just outwalk them. I don't even have to try to run. Or their relationships are falling apart, or they're just not connected to anything else. So I think with life, coaching needs to be a little bit more holistic. And so previously, when I did all my business coaching and consulting stuff, the first thing we would start with is like, okay, what's your health? Okay, what's your relationship with your significant other? Because those have to be in line in order for you to win at business. Otherwise, what happens is people get wildly successful and then all of a sudden they have to then spend the next 20 years trying to get their health back. So we're just trying to help people get some type of balance while they're also getting freedom.
Yeah. And to add to that, I've been in a lot of real estate coaching groups and masterminds, and a lot of them were centered around learning the information and then going to the bar, closing the bar down and drinking. And what happens is people just naturally get fat and then they're depressed and their energy's low. And so when they come into our world, people get fit, which then gives them more energy, gives them more confidence, and allows them to be able to create and make more money as a consequence of that. And their life gets better regardless, or completely better in an upward spiral. And there's that quote, is he who has his wealth has 1,000 dreams, and he who doesn't have his health only has one. So all these people, they're pushing and they're making massive amount of money, but they're, a day away from a heart attack. And then the whole paradigm shifts. And it's hard for me to follow someone, even in even pastors or leaders that are unfit. It's really challenging for me to learn from them at a high level. I don't want to use the word respect, but we'll just use that because if they can't control what they put in their mouth, how can they control what they do in other areas of their life? Because how you do one thing is how you do everything.
I love when you guys said, you have to have that partnership, or that's, that home where, your partner's on the same page, you're going in the right direction, because you can work as hard as you possibly can. You can be self-motivated, but at the end of the day, you have to have somebody that's willing to share those values and that drive with you. Because if not, what are you working your ass off for? It's like, there's only so much self-motivation you can give yourself before you just, you lose it. And you need that person to say, you know what, come on, let's get off your ass. Let's do it again. And it's so nice when you have it, because I've seen it the other way, and it's just a recipe for, disaster.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, gentlemen. Can you share some success stories from any member who's been a part of the group so far?
I know.
I love that answer. That's good.
Oh boy, we've got so many of them. I mean, we've got people that are down 45 pounds. We have people that are just absolutely shredded. We have people that have eliminated alcoholism, no longer drink, eliminated their need for diabetes medication and blood pressure medication. People that have bought in homes and invested and made a bunch of money. I mean, we can go on for days. It's incredible. People are just consistently winning or winning bigger.
That's awesome.
And it's fun
so
to
nice
watch.
to hear that too, when people just make these small changes and all of a sudden, these drastic things happen. And like you said, like, oh, I had high blood pressure my whole life, or I had gout, or I had this, or I felt this way, or I didn't have any energy, or I had a nap at fucking 2:00 in the afternoon. And then all of a sudden you make these small changes, or they can see you guys, because you guys are walking billboards, and people want to be like that too. They want to feel like that, and they want to be able to take back their life and just say, what else can I fucking do? So it's nice to see.
I think we're beating
sugar
addiction and food addiction.
100%. And it's crazy how big of a deal it is. You look at smoking and alcohol and stuff like that, and it's so much harder to quit those than they are drastic other ones, because they're just, I don't know. We just started at a young age, and it's just normal, to have a drink or to have a darts or have this and that kind of stuff. And then it sticks with you for life.
Yeah. Yeah. In one of the coaching calls, we challenged one of the group members, and he's a taller man. He's a bigger man, and we challenged him to write these affirmations. And you could see him visually on the call clam up, and he's literally looking away from the camera. And so he sends me these affirmations. These are the most well-written affirmations I've ever read in my whole life. He sat down for hours and crafted them about him. And so daily he posts his results, and him and his brother are so consistent about posting daily. This is where I started. This is where I'm at. This is what I'm doing. When he started doing that, all of a sudden you could see his whole mindset shift. And then this last week on Flex Friday, because we do Flex Fridays, he throws up a full body picture of himself. It's the first full body picture we've ever seen of him. And because I can see his starting weight, and do you know how much he's down? Is it 30, 32, 33 pounds, Jeff? Yeah, something like that. And all of a sudden, his figure is there, but you could see him standing proud. And I think that's the bigger thing. The exterior, this is a vanity metric. Now, we all want the vanity metric, and it's cool. But you felt the interior of him standing proud, and I believe that's because he sat there and wrote those affirmations day after day after day, and he was willing to put himself out there. He even told me, this is so cringe. I feel like I vomited in my mouth. I'm embarrassed writing this down. It's making my armpits sweat. So this is way outside of the norm, but that's where the growth happens, is right outside of where your comfort zone is. Amen.
Jeez, you guys got a lot
no
of
pressure, no diamonds.
And then I'm trying to log as shit as we talk.
We have a lot of good sayings because we read a lot of books and we go to a lot of coaching. So we're and this is what I want to tell everyone. I am literally, people go, oh, you're smart, or, oh, I love those sayings, or whatever. Art is the process of copying and recycling. I am simply copying and recycling good ideas and putting them out there. Take what works, build it into your system on life, and keep building on it. Jeff, go over what Greg did, because I think you tell that story better than anyone else when he called and he basically said, hey, I don't think I should do this this cleanse right now. I'm kind of injured.
Yeah, Greg, I think, holds the ultimate world record for weight release. He released 25 pounds in 16 days. And the day before he was going to start phase 1, the reset, he broke his rib on his mountain bike. And he said, "Oh, I don't know if I should start now that I broke my rib. Maybe I should just wait until it's healed." I said, "Well, how about you do it and become the best comeback story out of everybody?" And he took that on. And he went for it with a broken rib. And in 16 days, it was north of 25 pounds. I think it's 25.8 or something like that. And he is just absolutely peeled. And we're just seeing, like, he looks younger. He has more energy, looks making more money. I mean, he just looks youthful. You're seeing all these people reverse age in our group. And it's a lot of fun. And then
yeah, I know. Luke is lower body fat than both of us right now. That kind of pisses me off, brother.
Well, once again, you have to realize that you have gotten lean. We're going to build muscle. So when we come back down again, fuck everybody else, because you guys are looking.
And I think we should also throw out there, like, we just used 2 male examples. Let's use, Rachel's example. Rachel, basically, we met her actually at another mastermind through one of our other amazing friends. So not only do Jeff and I do coaching, we go to coaching, we get involved, because you have to constantly be learning. So we met Rachel. Rachel decided to join us, and she's an amazing human. Rachel, basically, she's like, I haven't drank since I started. I've killed off my sugar addiction. And she was already skinny, but she went from, skinny and not in shape to just freaking peeled. Like the other day, she was like showing her abs, and I was like, oh my goodness. Like you could see veins in her stomach, like unbelievable stuff.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. And people are saving.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Dang near over $1,000 a month working with us, because they're not going to Starbucks and buying that $8 mocha and then whatever other piece of food they're getting there. They're not going to the restaurants and eating out or going to the bar and spending a bunch of money. So people actually make money in another way in our group, because their nutrition program is so inexpensive. You're not going out and wasting your money on eating processed dog crap. I mean, I think it costs me probably $50 a week to eat this way, or less. I literally save a couple $1,000s a month. Not because I used to fly my airplane. I would go find places to eat that had like the best food, burger, sushi, and I would literally go and get my airplane and fly there to go eat. And so you got to imagine the fuel was $250, $300, the time away, and then the food, of course, was another $100 or $200. It was so much money, but I would use that as an excuse to go fly my airplane somewhere based around food. And so, I mean, with that money, I'm going to go buy more houses.
So in saying all of that, like, what can someone expect after joining your guys' mastermind and your fitness program? And how can listeners, sign up for that? Like, where do they go? What do they do?
Well, they can expect to have their mind warped and be on the way to getting more freedom, right? They're going to get accountability, and they're going to get absolutely peeled. Right now, this is middle of January. So, how awesome would it be by summer to be just shredded? And so they're going to get everything they've been looking for and a little bit of tough love. It's going to be great. Everything you want is on the other side, outside of your comfort zone. And we make you a little uncomfortable. We'll make you squirm. But man, it'll be so worth it. And we're seeing it happen. And that group accountability, that culture makes you want to make it happen. So there's stickiness to it. And if they want to join us, they go to www.shop.
It's so cool listening to you guys talk like that, because, when I started training, I did a lot of like individual one-on-one and stuff like that. And don't get me wrong, it was great. But when you go ahead and you throw that group dynamic into it, everyone feeds off each other. And that's why all these groups, that people go ahead and, like, for instance, your guys, they just feed off each other, and that accountability is just like brought to the next level, as opposed to, the 1-versus-1 where, what, I can be a dink, but if they're not going to go ahead and listen, it is what it is. But if they got Sarah, Betty, and fucking, John all together, they don't want to fail. They want to see how far they succeed and, what they can do. So I love these groups just for that reason alone, just that accountability, because that's honestly number one when people are talking about, okay, this is the hardest part.
So hold on. I want to add to that, Alan. If you're not committed enough to yourself, if you have tried and then failed by yourself or failed in that one-on-one situation, realize what happens with community is you have connection, you have accountability, and you have a tribe that's got your vibe. And so with those things, you will always do more for others than you will do for yourself. And so the people who are winning, the ones who are committed, are the ones who basically plug in, they become a part of the community. And I know on Fridays that we're going to post a picture. So, I'm going to do the work necessary to not let Alan down, to not let Jeff down, and to not let the rest of the community down. And if you failed in the past because of that, that's why it's there. We're here to support you. And we'll get text messages or DMs and stuff inside the group. And we talk about this idea of, like, the trend is your friend and progress, not perfection, because everyone's on a journey in many facets of their life. And yet something comes up and it gets you off journey, or you were doing really well and then you missed a day of working out, or the cheat meal went a little too cheaty, like it cheated right off the road. That's fine. What's your overall trend? And let's not beat ourselves up for one event. Let's look at the other 9 events that we did in a positive manner in order to keep this going. I think that's the difference. And that's where you may not have that commitment, and the group will help you build that commitment muscle if you choose to plug in and be a part of it.
Yeah. And to echo or add on to that, the reason that our group's so successful and effective is because it's simple. It's not complex. And the simplicity is what makes it work so well, because you know exactly what to do every single
100%.
day. And when you do that, the results show up. And I think most fitness programs are just way too complex. They got way too many details, too many things to try and learn and figure out. And we just make it very, very easy. Same thing with investing and
honestly,
and real estate.
And that's that. When I was first starting out way back when I was, 300 pounds and loved Twinkies, I overcomplicated things so much, and it didn't have to be. But to learn that art and to have that understanding now, it's just now to go ahead and be able to teach as many people as possible. It's, like I said, it's a game changer. And all of a sudden, we wouldn't be sitting here talking if it wasn't working. So, gentlemen.
Yeah.
Fucking right.
Growth is only necessary.
Do you believe fitness and health play a role in building wealth? Why or why not? Obviously it does.
Yeah. Massive understatement, brother. Massive.
Go ahead.
Let's think about it like this. You've got a car, and you could go put in fuel into the car that isn't 100% gas, that's kind of dirty, and your car's going to run like crap, or it may not even start. Or you can go buy race gas, and that race gas is just going to burn. It's going to burn hot, fast, quick. Why? Because it's high octane. It's really pure. And so flip that over. If I get my fitness dialed in, if I get my health dialed in, if I get my food dialed in, that food is fuel, then what else can I build on top of that? And without that, stop lying to yourself. Am I giving my beautiful wife everything she deserves? Am I showing up for these amazing people that are just on the other side of that door and giving them 110%? For my 3 kids, am I present enough because I have enough energy that when my daughter looks at me last night, and I drove literally 6 hours yesterday for one of the kids' soccer, and she goes, I want to play Uno, and it's 8:45 p.m. And I'm like, my ass hurts because I've sat on it so much. And I look over and I go, you know what, monster, I would love to play Uno with you. Why? Because I have the energy. And then there's a deal right here. Let me cover up the name. This is a purchase and sale. This offer has been made 11 times. 11. You can only be super tenacious. This is going to make me 350 grand. You can only be super tenacious if you have the energy. So don't lie to yourself. People who are not in shape or eating horrible, they're not there for everyone else, and they're not doing their business and everyone else in their life the best service humanly possible.
That was a great answer, dude. Nicely done.
Yeah, and they're kids. I mean, if you can use your kids as leverage, then that'll help you get there, because your kids are watching. They're not listening to the tongue in your mouth. They're watching the tongue in your shoes, right? And so you got to lead by example, because you can't help eliminate in others what you tolerate in yourself. And so, it's that whole be the change you want to see in the world. And I was thinking about this the other day when I was in the gym. I was like, would I trade my fitness for $1 million? I was like, no. Would I trade my health for $10 million? No. You can't cheat your way to it. You get to do the work, right? It can't be bought. You can't buy a 6-pack. I've tried. You can't. I bought every supplement out there. When I first started coaching and working with Alan, I threw away a couple $1,000s worth of supplements. I've tried it all. And I just realized, I finally learned that I could not out-train my fork, and that nutrition was 90% of what was keeping me stuck. And now I'm seeing all these people, they're like, I'm just going to do Ozempic, and my heart just aches. It's like, why? This is our battle against Big Pharma. I mean, if you look at the hospitals in the States here, they're amazing and they're well-funded. Well, they're well-funded because our food is poisoned and processed and toxic. It's part of the machine. And if we can get autonomy over our nutrition, then we don't need Big Pharma, and we can defeat Big Pharma. And when we can do that with ourselves and get ourselves dialed in, then we can help others. And we create that butterfly effect where when a butterfly flaps its wings, it creates a tsunami around the world. And so if you can't do it for yourself, do it for your children, do it for others, and use that leverage to pull you through.
This is all good stuff. I love listening to you. I told Deanna before we started, I was like, these guys have gold to talk about. This is awesome. All right, gentlemen, what are some fitness routines or habits you swear by to keep you energized and focused for your businesses?
Wake up, work out in the morning, get it done first thing. If I don't, then I put it off, and usually I won't get to it.
I would say your nightly routine is what sets the tempo for the next day. What I find, because there's a lot of people in our organizations, and then the people that we've chatted with and coached over the years, this does nothing but cost you money. Okay. And what I mean by that is, when you're staring blankly at the black mirror and doom scrolling on TikTok, you're wasting time. And so what I would challenge everyone to do, this is free, by the way. And this is a 7-digit $1 million tactic. So if you get nothing else out of this podcast, I'm going to make you $1 million right now. At the end of every day, you're gonna grab your to-do list. I've filled out the exact same to-do list since 2003 in the exact same format. I fill out my to-do list the night before. I check my calendar. I then use my superhuman trick. And my superhuman trick is I tell myself to solve a problem while I'm asleep. I tell myself, you will get this offer signed tomorrow at 11 a.m. when you go meet with Dave face to face. Thank you, subconscious, for working on this for me. Thank you for making this happen. Then I read fiction. Okay, just literally dumb fiction because I don't want to think anymore. But see, I've let go of tomorrow. I've planned out tomorrow. I've given my subconscious something to work on. Now I can go to bed in a peaceful manner. And at some point before bed, okay, so you need to go to bed at the same time over and over and over again. So I basically go to bed at 8:30 to 9:10. And then it takes me 15, 20 minutes to unwind. And then literally it's like lights out, pass out. And then my Garmin tracks my sleep. So I know what sleep I'm getting and how I'm nailing this. But if you're not shutting off the blue light and shutting off the doom scrolling and turning off the stupid TV, you're not giving the mind and the body time to relax. And then you're not releasing tomorrow and you're not giving the subconscious something to work on. You're setting yourself up for failure. Like I literally can almost wake up every day without an alarm and I wake up at the same time. And my sleep score is always between 75 to 95. I get over an hour of deep sleep. I wake up feeling rested and energized. And then I tell myself something amazing before my feet hit the floor. I wake up. You don't hit snooze. Oh, I forgot that part. Never hit snooze. Snooze is this idea that you've just told the whole day, no. You've said, not now. This is not important. I'm not worth winning. So you never hit snooze. You wake up. You say something amazing. I'm going to get this offer signed at 11, make 350 grand. And that's what I do before my feet hit the floor. Then everything else, because of that nightly routine, is already dialed in. Oh, P.S. You can't eat a bunch of garbage or drink a bunch too, just if that didn't come to mind.
Wow. See, I just learned something as well. This is awesome, dude. I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Nicely done. That's a great routine.
Yeah. And I would just add to that, writing your goals down before you go to bed or in the morning.
Yeah.
Because there's just something magic that happens when you put pen to paper. Because everything's created as a consequence of our consistent thoughts. Everything is a consequence of our thoughts. If you think about it, where we're at today and every result we've had in our life is a consequence of yesterday's thoughts. And we're just living a memory of yesterday's dream. And if that's the case, then can we remember our future by forecasting what we want to create and pulling it forward? And so when we get to play with the mind and really dive into that mental side of it and understand that everything starts up here and our outer world is a reflection of our inner world, we can start playing this video game of life and create all kinds of cheat codes and design it however we want, to where we can wake up when we want to wake up, make as much money as we want to make, fly airplanes, ride dirt bikes, shoot guns, and just have fun on this playground and just live an epic life. Why not? And so when we understand that if everything is a consequence of our thoughts and where we're at is a consequence of our thoughts, it creates radical responsibility because we know we created everything in our life. And therefore, life isn't happening to us, it's happening for us. And all we got to do is direct the mental program and upgrade the program in our mind.
100%, dude. You know, John Maxwell said it when I went to speak in South Carolina. It was crazy. He said, yesterday's home run won't win today's ball game. And it's like, you know what? Really appreciate what happened yesterday, but guess what? Move on, move forward, and let's go. So I loved that saying, and it just stuck with me. So,
amen.
Yeah, so good. And that's what's great about our group is we all think bigger and differently. Because if you're in an environment and you're thinking the same way everybody else around you is thinking, then guess what's going to happen? Well, in our environment, but imagine like the ones that most people live in, they create the same results that everyone around them creates, because they base their
Good.
goals and their abilities on what other people can do.
Yeah.
But when you see people playing at a higher level,
And if you're
like,
the smartest person in the room,
if
get
Jeff
the
can do
fuck
that, I
out of
can
the
do
room.
that, right?
All right, gentlemen. What's your favorite
That's
real
true.
estate investment strategy?
I like buying houses. When I buy houses, I can make 50 to 100 grand pretty quickly. And the more houses I buy, the more money I make. It just seems to be the biggest hack for me. The game of Monopoly.
Mr. Anton?
I've been doing land development stuff since the early 2000s, and I like land development because what they've done with development or land use code is they've used and created this esoteric language that if you are willing to learn, you get to know what the average doesn't know. And so if you want to do big things, you have to like sit down, and people are like, well, how would I learn that? You go to city council meetings, you go to county council meetings, you go to the planning commission, and you just start doing it. Well, how long is it going to take? It's going to take you years, but you now have Chat GPT, and I didn't have that. And so one, I would say that, but for the person like just getting started, you're brand new. The easiest thing to do is, instead of buying a house, buy a duplex, buy a triplex. Own or occupy a 4-unit. Just move into one and then just rent out the other ones. And then be willing to do that a few times. One of my mentors, and they own almost 100 properties here locally. Unbelievable monthly cash flow. And for people who are listening, I live in the north end of the Seattle Metro. So our average price is like 650 grand where we live. So you can do the math real quick of what 100 units would be worth. What they did was they were willing to move, and they moved actually 13 times. And because they were willing to move so many times, they built this epic, gigantic portfolio. And so I think in real estate investing, very simple. There's all these hacks, there's all these tips, there's all these tricks. What's your long-term goal? What are you willing to do? And then what are you willing to do consistently? Because the consistency in fitness, in real estate, is what causes the result over a long period of time. But when you watch these kids on TikTok or Instagram and they're saying, there's this cheat code and you're going to go do this, most of that doesn't work. Okay. Every once in a while you get lucky. But that's it. Is one, play games other people aren't willing to play in real estate investing because it creates an unfair advantage. Two, just start doing it and then don't stop.
Put in the reps.
Yeah, put in the reps. Pick up the freaking bar. Do you got the calluses? If you don't have the calluses, you're not lifting enough.
Yeah. One of the projects we're doing, we're building out 220 garage condos in Eastern Washington here in Chelan. And that project will net $20 million. And that's just knowing development codes and what can be put on that land, right? And so we share that stuff in our group. We share what we're doing and how we're doing it. So if someone really wanted to learn in an expensive way, they just need to join us.
I love it. That was right to the point.
Because that's what we talk about.
Well, it's one of the last questions I got for you guys. What's the best advice you've ever received about health or fitness?
Best advice.
Well,
I was hoping one of you was going to say
F plan is the one that
like
getting from Alan.
Trust the Dyck or something.
Yeah.
Trust the Dyck. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I mean, that's it, really. Like, it's Alan. You've changed Anton and I's fitness trajectory exponentially. I mean, we've worked out aggressively before working with you, and
I mean, 100%.
Never had these results.
I mean, let's be blunt. Since 2009, I've done CrossFit 6 days a week. I look better than I did in my 20s. I'm 45. I've got shark gills on the side where my rib cage are. I've got abs. And now that I'm phase 3, eating like a champion, I feel like I'm getting a little thickerish, but coach says, just keep going. And then we get a cutoff for summer. And I said, okay, trust the Dyck. Let's rock and roll.
All right. Well, gentlemen, what's next for each of you, personally and professionally? Last question.
Well, right now we're going up. We're putting on muscle, putting on size, and then we're gonna be peeling right back at it. Here in a couple months. Professionally, just buying more real estate and creating that generational wealth, and just helping a lot of people do it is kind of where we're at right now with our trajectory.
We're gonna. I bought the last 80 acres within a half an hour of my office. And so I'm doing this house hack on steroids. And even though the economy isn't, humming in the right direction, I'm going to start building our dream home this year. And what I said to my wife was, I said, you know what? What if we just get the building permit? What if we just get the foundation in the ground? What if we just get it framed up? In other words, I don't have it figured out. I'm not even actually going to bother to figure it out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start the process. I'm going to trust the process. I'm going to follow the freaking plan. And I'm just going to sit there and work at it till it gets done. And if it gets done in a year, great. If it takes 2, that's fine. If it takes 3, that's fine. I'm just going to get on plan. And that's both a personal and a professional win, just by the sheer amount of real estate it creates. And then on another kind of personal level, want to be epically present with those in my life. And, that may mean with the gentleman on this call, we go to Montana and we play music from a mile out. Ring the gong. And it may mean that I'm playing Uno with my daughter. It may mean I'm doing a crazy investment with someone. I just want to be epically present. Like whatever that is. I want to give that the individuals in my life in that moment, they're my all.
Nicely done, buddy. Well, I will say, if you're a real estate entrepreneur ready to level up, or anybody else that just wants to go ahead and, get into shape and honestly take back your life, start kicking ass and start being your own billboard for people to want to go ahead and be like, you know what, how can I get to you? How can I be like you? How can I have the energy like you? And how can I fucking look like you? It sounds like you guys' group is the one to go with. And, honestly, I've learned so much when it comes to real estate and stuff. I was telling Leanne that, Anton, you're very good. You're the gift of the gab, and you just, you know how to go ahead and talk to people. And it's nice because you dumb it down and you don't make them feel stupid. But, after conversations, they come away with just this knowledge. And it's so cool to have, to be able to be a part of this kind of stuff with you guys. So I learned a lot as well. All right, gentlemen, you know what? I've got an additional question to ask you. Like, what do you think is the biggest difference between the committed and not when it comes to things?
I would say in life, there's doers and there's don't doers. There's the Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule. And the people that I see have success are the ones that are resilient and they never quit. And more importantly, they just have this insatiable hunger. And we've got the framework to show them how to get the outcome they're looking for, but it's really up to them to find out why they're doing what they're doing, why they want that result, and to have the hunger and the drive and the commitment to do it. So that's what I believe is those people that are just a little crazy. That
the only thing I would add is that people in life, they want the big result. We want the exponential result. And you're going to massively overestimate what you're going to do in a year. And then you're going to underestimate what you're going to do in 5 to 10 years. And in order to hit that exponential result over a 5 to a 10-year run, consistency is key. It's simply doing the small things over and over again. And then those small things show up as success, as the massive result. And so how can you plug in in your fitness, in your health, in your wealth building, and then just consistently do that over and over again, because that's what's going to be the committed. It's going to be those little actions and that little every day, just some time on task.
Wow, nicely done. That was a great response to that, and I totally understand. And I love how you said, like, just consistency is key. I practice that every single day, and it's crazy how those little things can make such a drastic difference.
Alan, what do you see in people that are consistent? Is there something further upstream that holds that consistency and keeps it going?
I always go back to, you need that partner, you need that person, because if you don't have that or some form of, support system, wherever it may be, it's really hard to maintain that level, because for myself, I love being here, but at the end of the day, I always want who I'm with. That's why I end up getting divorced. Obviously there was other things that came into factor, but at the same time, I want somebody that's like-minded to be able to carry me even further than what I thought I could do.
Yeah. People perform to the standards and expectations of their peer group.
Fucking right. And honestly, having every single one of you guys go ahead and do what you're doing motivates me to keep doing this even more. So we all work together.
Iron sharpens iron.
Fucking right. All right. We'll start with you, Anton. Do you believe you can still be ultra successful and still have balance in your everyday?
One, I think as you go through phases and changes in life, you have to be willing to be out of balance to make it to the next level. In other words, you won't be able to get there without some form of sacrifice and some form of change. Two, when you get to that next level, then you can figure out how to dial it in. And usually it's some form of leverage. And that's people, that's process, that's education, that's capital, it's code, it's content like we're creating right here. How can I leverage that out in order to obtain balance? Now, also, I think the reason people go hunting for balance is they're not happy with a part of their life. So I feel amazingly balanced and I work a lot and I love it. Why? Because I show up for my kids. I go to their soccer game. I go do what my wife wants to do. Like, I'll read these girl dystopian sci-fi future books, like the Hunger Games, the Pretties, the Uglies, the Specials, things like that. Why? Because that's what my wife reads, and she wants me to read that dumb book and then talk with her about it. Okay? So this idea of being out of balance is actually, it's more of you're not in alignment, and you are going to have to make a sacrifice to get to the next level, to get to that level of balance, and then to get into alignment. So I view more as balance as alignment, because there are times when I want to overwork. There are times when Alan told me, hey, you might be working out a little too much. There are times when I'm going to give it 150%. Because that's me. I enjoy it. But then I have to slow down and realize, wait a second. Life is a marathon. It's not a sprint. And when I'm in alignment with my goals, my spiritual life, my wealth, my health, and my fun, I don't feel out of balance.
Yeah.
Jeff, what did I miss, brother man?
Well, if you think of balance, like being on a balance beam, it's kind of like, it's never just consistently going up, right? So I think I like the analogy of like a vehicle going down the road. And let's say each tire, you have 4 tires: faith, family, fitness, and finance. And those are like the main quadrants in our life, right? And as you're going down the road, the goal is to have all the tires inflated the same. But when you have one that's lower, then your car is going to wobble down the road. So you may be driving down the road and they're all connected. And so if your fitness dial or your fitness tire is a little flat, your car is wobbling down the road. But that flat tire is going to affect your family because you won't be around a long time to help them, and you're setting bad examples. Your finances will go to shit, and you won't have money to feed yourself as well. Just as if your finance side is out of balance, then you're not going to be able, well, then you wouldn't have money to feed yourself. You wouldn't be able to take care of your family. You wouldn't be able to pay for a gym membership. So they're all connected. And so I don't think it's possible to have them all dialed in at the same time. I mean, that is a limiting conversation or concept, but the goal is to have them all elevate at the same time. But as you're going down the road, you have these gauges and you're like, okay, what area of my life, where am I winning and what needs to be improved, right? Because that's just how life works, right? So that's my take on balance. So sometimes I'm killing it in certain areas, and other areas I need work. Then I pay attention and I tighten those up. But the goal is to be dialed in all of them because they all affect each other.
And it's nice when you have somebody sometimes, looking outside the box to be able to give you that constructive criticism, but be able to accept that constructive criticism and do something about it.
Yeah.
Amen. Yeah. No, you have to be willing to hear the message, because the message is always loud and clear. Your body's telling you, the people in your life are telling you, your checkbook is telling you. But what we do is when we don't want to hear it, we ostrich, we put our head in the sand and just pray it goes away. Hope is not a strategy. That's not going to give you the outcome you're looking for and get those tires inflated, like Jeff was saying.
100%.
Yeah. Gotta do the work on all areas.
For sure.
I mean, I know a lot of people are super jacked, but maybe their family life isn't dialed in, or maybe they're broke. And I know a lot of people are really wealthy, but their spirituality may be dog shit, or, they might be fat, right? Yeah. So I think you become superhuman if you can just be dialed in all of them: faith, family, fitness, and finance.
Fucking right.
Love it.
100%.
Yeah.
You know what? Honestly, it was a pleasure having you guys on here. And hopefully your group keeps kicking ass. I know it will, because the other 50% is right here. And honestly, thanks for being on Trust the Dyck podcast, guys. It's been a pleasure.